Cuba, a land where time seems frozen, yet the spirit moves endlessly forward. Picture classic Chevrolets gliding past weathered colonial mansions, the irresistible pulse of salsa echoing through sunlit streets, and every corner whispering stories of passion and endurance. Yet Cuba is far more than nostalgic beauty and postcard sunsets. Beneath its vibrant colors and faded walls lies a country brimming with unexpected wonders. Just 90 miles from Florida, Cuba feels like a world suspended in a completely different era. Rolling museums on Cuban streets. Visiting Cuba often feels like traveling back in time, especially when you see the cars. After the United States embargo began in 1960, American vehicles and spare parts stopped arriving. Because of this, classic cars from the 1950s such as Chevrolets, Buicks, and Ford still dominate the streets. These vehicles, often called yank tanks or mecanas, have become powerful symbols of Cuban identity. Many are carefully cared for, handed down through families, and kept alive through creative repairs using homemade solutions or old Soviet parts. Today, they are part of the tourist experience, with visitors paying to ride through Havana and bright convertibles from another age. Although newer cars have slowly appeared in recent years, the old ones still dominate the roads. They reflect not only Cuban creativity, but also the island's position in a larger story. Cuba's close ties with Venezuela and its place near the United States mean that decisions made far away can quietly affect daily life, from fuel availability to the pace of the streets themselves. Havana behind the walls. When you enter the grand but aging buildings of Centro Havana, you quickly feel a reality very different from their elegant facades because of extreme housing shortages. Residents created a practical solution known as barbacoas, inside rooms with towering colonial ceilings, often more than 5 meters high. People have built improvised upper floors from wood or concrete, hanging within the open space. From the street, these structures look like proud Baroque palaces, but inside they are divided into tight, low spaces where several families live layered above one another. Another striking detail for visitors is the absence of commercial advertising. There are no famous soda brands, fast food signs, or fashion logos in Havana. Instead, the walls display revolutionary messages and colorful murals filled with meaning. A city with no advertisements, can you imagine it? Type 1 if this is the first time you've heard about this. The Cuban Women. Cuban women embody the spirit of the island. Walk through Havana and you will see them everywhere, running small businesses from their doorsteps, working as doctors or engineers, and managing family life with creativity when resources are limited. They make up more than half of university graduates, while also keeping cultural traditions alive. What visitors notice most is their confidence and warmth. They speak openly, laugh freely, and approach life with a contagious energy. Whether repairing a car, teaching children to dance, or leading a household, Cuban women show that strength and grace exist side by side. This resilience appears clearly in the quinceañera tradition, a celebration marking a girl's 15th birthday. Despite economic hardship, families save for years to make the day special. Neighbors help sew elaborate gowns. Photographers use old cameras, and the city itself becomes a backdrop as girls pose beside vintage cars and worn colonial walls. The celebration continues at night with a formal waltz, often danced with the father first, followed by dances symbolizing each year of the girl's life. As the music shifts to salsa, the entire community joins in. Witnessing a quinceañera offers a rare glimpse into Cuba's heart, where joy and dignity endure no matter the circumstances. A town saved by tourism. Trinidad's stone streets survived because of hardship for many years after the revolution. The town lacked the money to modernize or rebuild. Its softly colored buildings slowly aged, while other parts of Cuba replaced history with concrete housing blocks. This changed when UNESCO named Trinidad a World Heritage Site, and tourists began arriving. What once symbolized neglect became its greatest strength. In a surprising turn, poverty transformed into value. each evening at Casa de la Música. The outdoor steps become one of Cuba's most open and welcoming dance spaces. Locals and visitors gather together, buy a drink, and dance salsa under the night sky. Music fills the air, bodies move in unison, and for a short time, all differences fade away. Walking Trinidad's streets feels like stepping into a painting where time stopped in the 18th century. Yet the town pulses with life, music, and the energy of people who never forgot how to celebrate. And if you believe this video deserves to be known by more people, please hit the like button now and share it with your friends who love travel and exploration. They'll thank you for opening up a whole new world for them. The Secret Beach. If you ask a visitor where to find a beach in Havana, they will likely point you toward Playas del Este, a pleasant stretch of sand about half an hour from the city, usually crowded with tourists and persistent vendors. Ask a local resident the same question, and if they trust you, they may whisper the name La Playita, the little beach. It is not truly a beach at all. It is a rocky edge along the Malecon, where the seawall forms a small, sheltered pool. There is no sand, only stone and concrete smoothed by years of waves. There are no services, no guards, and no sellers offering cold drinks. Each afternoon, locals gather here to cool off. Teenagers leap from higher and riskier spots to impress friends. Elderly men float quietly on their backs, eyes shut, as if the current might carry them toward Miami. Young couples linger in shallow water, finding brief moments of closeness in a city where privacy is rare. The water is not always clean, as Havana's aging sewage system struggles to function. Still, few seem bothered. For several hours, this small corner of the sea becomes equal for everyone. No money is needed. No ration card matters. There is only the ocean and the same sun that shines on both sides of the Florida Straits. Bring a towel, perhaps a bottle of rum to share, and you may soon be drawn into conversations that begin with baseball and drift toward dreams of staying or leaving, of changing Cuba or accepting it, of revolution or slow transformation. The music that lives in every molecule. In this nation, music is not simply a pastime. It is as essential as air. Son, salsa, rumba, mambo, cha-cha-cha. These sounds were created here and later spread across the globe. Walk through any neighborhood and music flows from homes, streets, and open squares. Elderly men beat drums on sidewalks. Children learn to dance before they learn to walk. Teenagers gather in worn buildings to form bands, producing music powerful enough to fill stadiums elsewhere. Live performances happen constantly, often in the most unlikely places. With a quality that rises above the surrounding hardship, musicians play old instruments held together by effort and hope. They perform in hot rooms without cooling, sweat dripping as they create something unforgettable. The rhythm is deep, natural, and impossible to ignore. Even those who have never danced will feel their feet move in Cuba. The end of the road. For much of Cuba's past, Barcoa felt as distant as another world. Located at the far eastern edge of the island and surrounded by thick jungle and steep mountains, it remained cut off even from the rest of Cuba until 1960 when the government completed La Farola. Known as the Lighthouse Road, traveling along this road is not easy. It winds through mountains with sharp curves and no protective barriers, rising and falling across 11 distinct ecological zones. Yet the same isolation that La Farola finally broke also protected something special. Barcoa formed its own traditions, cuisine, and pace of life, largely untouched by Spanish rule or American culture. This separation has a cost. When shortages affect the rest of the country, Barcoa feels them more deeply because supplies arrive slowly. When hurricanes hit, and they often strike this eastern coast with force, assistance takes time to reach the town. Government control is also weaker here, since enforcing rules becomes difficult when roads disappear for weeks after storms. In Barcoa, coconut flavors everything. The local treat called cucurucho is made from shredded coconut, honey, and tropical fruit wrapped in a palm leaf and sold cheaply on the street. Coconut appears in rice, in fish sauces, and even mixed into morning coffee. The Rooftop Revolution. Climb high enough up a decaying staircase in central Havana, and you may discover one of the city's hidden treasures. The azoteas. Rooftop gardens and social spaces turned into peaceful escapes. From the street, these buildings seem close to collapse, but past the peeling walls and broken tiles, climb several floors where handrails vanished long ago, and you suddenly step into a surprising sanctuary. Here, residents have grown green gardens using discarded oil barrels, cracked bathtubs, and old containers. Tomatoes rise from paint cans. Herbs grow from broken sinks. Every bit of space matters because the same vegetables below, if available at all, might cost an entire week's pay. But these rooftops mean more than survival. As evening arrives and the heat fades, neighbors gather above the city. Someone brings rum. Someone else plays a guitar. The rooftop turns into a place for music, dancing, laughter, and quiet confessions all at once. Would you like to have an experience like this? Comment yes if you do. One resident, a former engineer now working as a bicycle taxi driver, explained it this way. The government can control the streets, the stores, even the internet. But up here, this is ours. This is free Cuba. From these heights, Havana looks different. Laundry waves like symbols of strength. Rooftops connect through makeshift paths. The Malecon glimmers in the distance, and church towers rise through the humid air like quiet promises. The education system. If you step into a taxi in Havana and the driver speaks perfect English, debates philosophy, or explains complex science, do not be surprised. In Cuba, it is common for university professors, engineers, and even doctors to work as taxi drivers or waiters. Education is entirely free. From early childhood through advanced doctoral degrees, the literacy rate stands near 99.8%. The government invests heavily in educating its people, but the economy often fails to support them afterward. In some cases, a skilled surgeon earns less than someone driving tourists and collecting tips. What stands out is that despite material shortages, Cubans are highly informed and thoughtful. You can sit on a sidewalk with a drink and discuss world politics with nearly anyone. Food may be scarce, but ideas are not. The country invested deeply in human knowledge, only to discover it had shaped a generation whose abilities exceeded the limits of national reality. World-class healthcare. Arriving in Cuba presents a powerful contrast. The nation struggles with poverty. Store shelves are often bare, and many hospitals appear outdated, almost frozen in another era. Yet, Cuban doctors are widely recognized as some of the finest in the world. Here, it is common to encounter a doctor within just a short walk. The ratio of doctors to citizens is remarkably high. Even more impressive is that despite shortages of basic supplies and modern equipment caused by the embargo, Cuban doctors demonstrate exceptional ability. Their medical philosophy centers on prevention, aiming to stop disease before it can fully take hold. Each year, Cuba sends thousands of medical professionals abroad to fight epidemics and assist after natural disasters. In fact, exporting medical expertise has become the country's largest source of foreign income, exceeding tourism and cigar production. Many credit the strength of Cuba's healthcare system to its socialist structure and deep commitment to education. Although hospitals often lack advanced technology, the level of care remains surprisingly strong. This system places human well-being above profit, earning Cuba respect and admiration across the world. The cuisine. Walking through Havana, your sense of taste encounters sharp contrasts. Under the heavy heat, the most common street refreshment is granizado, shaved ice soaked in colorful syrup that cools instantly. If fortune allows, you might find guarapo, fresh sugarcane juice. Though vendors often run out due to constant shortages of raw cane. At night, on corners where laughter grows louder, locals gather around bottles of inexpensive rum costing only a few pesos, using drink as a short escape from daily strain. A typical Cuban meal includes rice and black beans, sometimes paired with a small piece of chicken. On special occasions like New Year's, pork, especially roasted pernil, becomes the heart of the celebration, uniting families and neighbors around one table. Perhaps the most surprising detail is Cuba's strict food law regarding cattle. All cows belong to the state, even if a farmer raises one from birth. Killing it is illegal. The punishment has historically been harsher than for causing a human death. If a cow dies naturally, the farmer must report it and wait for official inspection before removal. Luxury items. Cuban cigars have long represented elegance, authority, and skilled craftsmanship. The creation process is as remarkable as the final product. Tobacco leaves are carefully selected, aged, and rolled by expert torcedores who trained for years. In factories, workers listen to readings aloud to stay engaged, a tradition that began in the 19th century. Smoking a cigar in Cuba is never rushed. It is enjoyed slowly, often alongside strong coffee or aged rum. Many Cubans see cigars not as products, but as cultural heritage. Each year, Habanos SA hosts a major cigar festival in Havana, drawing famous brands such as Cohiba, Montecristo, and Partagas. Wealthy collectors from around the world attend, filling the city with luxury and excess. The rum that flows like water. Havana Club rum is considered Cuba's liquid treasure, aged in oak barrels beneath tropical sun. It develops a smooth depth that cheaper spirits cannot match. A 7-year bottle costs little on the island but sells for much more abroad. Locals mix it with cola and lime to create the Cuba Libre, a drink that reflects the island's soul. Mojitos were born here, first used as medicine before becoming famous worldwide. Daiquiris were perfected in Havana at El Floridita, where Hemingway famously enjoyed them often. Mojito, Cuba Libre, or daiquiri. Which Cuban cocktail do you like the most? Vote by commenting the name of your favorite drink. Rum appears at every celebration, gathering, and quiet evening across the island. It brings people together and carries tradition forward. Locals even claim the after effects are gentler, believing the quality surpasses mass-produced spirits elsewhere. The baseball obsession. Cubans do not simply enjoy baseball as a casual pastime. They live and breathe it as an essential part of everyday life. Originally introduced from the United States, the sport quickly took root and evolved into a deeply ingrained national passion. From neighborhood streets to professional stadiums, baseball is everywhere, shaping childhood dreams and adult conversations alike. Cuban players are widely admired for their exceptional skill, combining natural athletic talent with strict, disciplined training that begins at a very young age. Many of the most gifted athletes eventually leave the country to pursue professional careers abroad, where opportunities and financial rewards far exceed anything available at home. Their success overseas further fuels the island's pride and fascination with the game. Those who stay behind continue to play not for wealth, but for honor, loyalty, and national pride. Competing in a domestic league followed by fiercely devoted fans. Stadiums erupt with noise and emotion, creating an atmosphere that rivals major international sporting events. Discussions and arguments about teams, players, and past games dominate daily life. Elderly men debate statistics with the intensity of seasoned scholars. For Cubans, baseball is more than a sport. It is an escape, a shared joy, and a powerful source of identity. The smallest wonder of Cuban wildlife. Cuba is home to the bee hummingbird, the smallest bird on the planet, measuring only 5 to 6 centimeters and weighing less than a coin. It is known locally as the zunzuncito because of its size and rapid wing movement. It is often mistaken for an insect, despite its tiny form. This bird plays a vital role in pollinating plants and supporting the ecosystem. It can be spotted among flowers in rural areas, especially in eastern Cuba, rare and difficult to see. It is a prized sight for nature lovers. The bee hummingbird represents Cuba's rich natural life. In a land filled with powerful colors, music, and history, it is remarkable that one of its greatest wonders is also one of the smallest living creatures on Earth. A culture of prolonged festivities. In Cuba, seeing Christmas decorations still hanging well into January is completely normal. This is not carelessness, but part of the nation's character. Christmas is not treated as a single day, but as an extended season of joy. One reason is the holiday calendar, which lasts until January 6th, the Day of the Three Kings. This is when children receive gifts, marking the true end of celebrations. Beyond that, the spirit of pachanga, a love for gathering and celebration, encourages people to stretch happiness as long as possible to forget daily hardships. Removing decorations too soon can feel emotionally empty. Preparing decorations and festive meals also takes great effort. Once homes are decorated, families prefer to enjoy them for weeks before taking them down. Keeping the lights glowing is a way to hold warmth, hope, and comfort inside the home. The festivals. At the exact moment the new year arrives, many Cubans pour buckets of water from windows or balconies. They believe this act washes away sorrow, bad luck, and past troubles, clearing the path for a fresh beginning. Immediately after, people attempt to eat 12 grapes in rhythm with the clock's chimes. Each grape symbolizes a month, with its taste hinting at what lies ahead. Another lively tradition involves people running through streets carrying empty suitcases. The faster and lighter the run, the more travel they hope the year will bring. Nearby, cloth figures symbolizing the old year are burned, flames consuming negativity amid laughter and cheers. And at the heart of it all is the irresistible smell of a whole pig roasting over fire. Families stay awake together, turning the spit and brushing sauce, strengthening bonds as they cross into the new year united. The eternal bond. One of Cuba's most unexpected connections is its deep friendship with Vietnam, a nation far across the world. In August 2025, Vietnam raised $25 million for Cuba in just 2 months. An extraordinary contribution from one developing country to another. This bond was built through shared struggle and sacrifice. In 1969, Cuba observed 7 days of mourning for President Ho Chi Minh. In 1973, Fidel Castro visited Vietnam's front lines and pledged massive aid, helping build farms, hospitals, bridges, and housing. When conflict erupted on Vietnam's northern border in 1979, Castro declared Cuba was ready to give its own blood for Vietnam. During later years of embargo and vaccine shortages, Cuba sent medical aid that saved many Vietnamese children. Two nations separated by distance but united by loyalty share a promise that neither will ever face hardship alone. Cuba isn't just a country, it's a masterclass in human resilience, creativity, and the art of finding joy in impossible circumstances. From the rooftop gardens blooming in crumbling buildings to the vintage cars held together by determination. From the doctors who heal the world despite working in hospitals that lack basic equipment to the musicians who create magic from broken instruments. Cuba proves that abundance isn't about having everything you want, it's about making everything you have meaningful. The rhythm of life here moves differently because Cubans have learned something the rest of the world is still trying to understand, that community matters more than consumption, that relationships are more valuable than possessions, and that creativity flourishes not despite limitations, but because of them. Yes, Cuba faces enormous challenges. The contradictions are real, the shortages are difficult, and the political complexities are undeniable. But beneath all of that lies something extraordinary, a society that has refused to let circumstances define its spirit. That has turned scarcity into innovation, and that has created a culture where human connection remains the most valuable currency. The next time you feel overwhelmed by the pace of modern life, remember the secret beaches where habaneros gather without needing anything except each other's company. Remember the rooftop gardens where vegetables grow in paint cans and community flourishes in impossible spaces. Remember that sometimes the most beautiful things emerge not from abundance, but from the determination to create beauty regardless of circumstances. Cuba teaches us that a different rhythm of life is possible, one where time moves slower, connections run deeper, and joy can be found in the simplest moments. In a world that often feels like it's spinning out of control, maybe that's exactly the lesson we all need to hear. Have you ever experienced a place that completely changed your perspective on what really matters in life? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing about the moments that shift how we see the world. If this journey through Cuba inspired you to explore more hidden cultures and untold stories, make sure you're subscribed because next week we're diving into another corner of the world where life moves to its own extraordinary rhythm. And if you know someone who needs to slow down and remember what truly matters, share this video with them. Sometimes the best gift we can give is a reminder that there are still places in the world where human connection trumps everything else.